Hey, wow, I'm the only one with, you can actually all have, you should all have, no, don't switch on your camera, please, Eric. Nobody switch on your camera. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to, no, please don't, Chris, even you, I think. Unless you're gonna send me an email, okay? If you're gonna switch on your camera, you gotta send me an email. But I think as soon as someone picks up the screen, it is not going to matter because we'll be looking at the shared screen and editing it. But right now it kind of looks weird because usually we have all these people and faces. If you really want to, you can actually have your cameras on until I say, here's where the recording is going to begin. Okay, and then you can switch it off, and then I can share the part after that. Until then, it won't be shared, but I think it'll be on Zoom. So yeah, if you want to switch your cameras on briefly, and then if you have any questions, we can address them, face to face. And after that, we'll just go into this mode, and I'll say, here's the thing that we're going to code today. Who'd like to take the screen? In fact, I'll just name my people at random now, and say, hey, do you want to take the screen and code? And then we'll go from there. Okay. I actually have a couple of interesting ideas that I wanted to try. So hopefully we'll get a chance to do it today. I think I spoke about it briefly in the announcement. Okay. And we're going to code linked lists, okay? Objects and pointers. Essentially, what we're going to do today is learn about pointers. And we're going to practice lots and lots of pointers today, Thursday, and through the weekend, you guys are going to be doing that. And hopefully working on quest number 9, which will involve a lot of practice with pointers. So you're going to be doing a lot of that. Linked lists are just a structure that involves pointers. And really, it's a pity that, well, it's not a pity. There's some interesting algorithms to do with linked lists. But in my opinion, I have never had to use a linked list in practice. Okay, a vector was much better suited. Because in your mind, if you think about it, a linked list has to access pieces of the RAM. Anytime, and that's the thing, before we start talking about pointers today, okay? This whole idea that, you have this power that C++ gives you that lets you have a pointer to something out there. And so now you have a data structure that can have, arms, tentacles. It gives you a lot of power. But I think that people who just go down the power path and say, all right, I'm just going to use a lot of pointers, end up shooting themselves in the foot. Because I think because the simple solution actually most of the time is you can get it with vectors, because all you want is vectors give you a lot of power. That's what, even stacks. I think in quest number 8, you implement a stack using an array. Yeah. So, an array is a much better implementation for a stack than, I think, there's some reading material that you may have that says, implement a stack using pointers and nodes. We can do that as a pedagogical exercise, saying, all right, we're just looking for excuses to play with pointers. And I think that's the whole purpose of existence of linked lists. Okay, linked lists and stacks, and stacks at least have some purpose. But most of the time, a linked list, other than specialized linked lists like rings and so on, yeah. I think the whole purpose of their existence is to be, provide us with good examples of how to use pointers, because I think by learning to use it, we'll get really conversant with how to jump. And then, and knowing how to jump, you can also then say, all right, all my jumps are going to be, choreographed in a particular way. Then you can have interesting things that you can do with pointers. So, and that's what we'll look at in CS2B. Now, in fact, what I did was I sent the Zoom link to my CS2B students from winter. And all the future students, the winter quarter students. And I said, yeah, well, you know what, if you have access to Canvas, and you should just feel free to join today. So you may actually see a bunch of those people. I hope they're not stuck in the waiting room or something. Okay. But hopefully, if they show up, they're all welcome to take part. But that's basically what it is. CS2B is going to start off with pointers and linked lists, but that is just to make sure that you know how to go back and forth. That's all. Okay, it's like going back and forth. That is what quest number 1 is, and it's also last quest of question of CS2A. So you get given a sequence, and then you just have to get totally comfortable with going back and forth. Okay, and someone says, jump there, and then watch, 5 notes behind that, bam, like that. Okay, and then so that you'll get totally comfortable with that, with the kinds of problems that you'll be solving in the last quest of CS2A and the first quest of CS2B. But after that, I'd be hard pressed to see if we actually use linked lists anywhere else. You're going to be using structures with multiple pointers, trees, and then graphs and so on and so forth, because there's more interesting algorithms. Well, not that more interesting algorithms, more practical algorithms, I think, maybe most of the time. So yeah, so you'll be working with those things. But that's why I say practice with the linked things today, and maybe just this week, this next couple of weeks. After you're done with the first couple of first quest of CS2B, you can just forget about it. You'll just essentially be working with interesting space in pointers, okay, where you can see patterns and follow them, not just in a straight line. Okay, all right. So here's what I want to do. Well, you know what? You could have switched on your cameras now, then, because we could stop. Well, you know what? I can stop recording now. I don't know, screw it. Okay, but you can switch on your cameras later on or towards the end, and I'll say I'll stop recording, and then you can switch on your cameras, because I can't share it otherwise. All right. All right. Now, how about I'm going to ask for a volunteer. If nobody volunteers, I'm just going to say, point to a random person and say, hey, take the screen. Okay, how about that? Everybody should be comfortable with doing that. And here's my plan. What time is it now? What time is it now? Yeah, it's only 6:10. Okay, all right. So here's my plan. Well, I'm thinking that we'll start with the first person who takes a screen. We'll say you're going to create an object that has a pointer to something else. Okay, and then the next time, what you can do is maybe the next person takes over. Well, they're going to take that person's code, right? I think we'll use the online GDB and fork it and share the screen and so on and so forth. Okay. And then we could say that person would, make a pointer to another object of not of a different type, but of the same type as itself. Okay. And then we look at all the ramifications of that, because once you have an object that is pointing to another object that's of the same type as this one, okay, that one also has a pointer to another object of the same type as this one. Yes. So that is the first bottleneck I find for lots and lots of students. Okay, so maybe if you can spend as much time as you want, maybe it may even takes you the whole weekend, but you actually have to get your head around it, because that's the only thing really, right? Having the ability to get used to, not ability to imagine, but having the ability to get used to, meaning the patience to get used to. You're trying it again and again in different scenarios, so that you just get used to the fact that what was I going? I forgot what I was going to say. Not the fact that you're dealing with pointers as much. I actually forgot what I was going to say. I'm so sorry. Okay, I say if it comes back to me, I will say that. Well, we're probably going to talk about that anyway, right? So yeah, we're going to yeah, that's basically it. You just want to get the intuition of an object pointing another object of the same type. That's all. So, and the reason I think, my theory, that students find that hard is because when they say, an object contains another object of the same kind, it's like in their mind, it's like this infinite recursion, or that, the camera against a mirror or something like that. So they say that nested and so on. No, right? And I think that many students get stuck there. And so you just have to get unstuck. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a chain letter. Okay. So maybe it's worth yeah, I don't know if it's kind of emphasized in some of the other languages, but I don't know, in Java, for example. So you had a class, and then you say it has an instance of that class. I've actually forgotten. It's such a long time since I've forgotten. Yeah, I've written Java. Maybe so one of you is a Java programmer can chime in here, because syntactically it seems like you have an object and you have an object inside of it, but really they're just pointers internally, the way they implement it. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the syntax is completely different. But but in C++ is very clear, and that's what we're going to do today. All right. So we'll just take it in steps, and multiple people will get a chance to code today. And you can actually raise your hand and say, I want to go next. Otherwise, I'll just say, all right, Zach or Rebecca, Vikram, Kira, whoever. So I'll just say the first person to hit my eyes, say, take the screen, and then fork the code from the previous person, and then we'll go from there. And we don't have a particular target. That's the important thing. Okay, we just have to remember that there's no particular target that we're shooting for. Meaning that we don't have to say, oh yeah, oh my gosh, we got to finish. I would totally understand how to get to that at the end of the game today. No, we're just going to go as fast as we can, as fast as everybody can, which means it may be a little slow for other people. Yeah, okay, that's okay. We have one more class too. Yeah. Not an issue, because that just means that they may have to do it one more time, maybe in their dream, or when they're thinking about it or walking or something like that. The next time they do it, they'll be equally fast, right? So it's just a question of practice and time. So some people will be following the ones who find it totally comfortable, but that's okay. But in the end, I think at the end of next week, you'll all be completely comfortable with pointers, which means totally able to wrap up quest number 9. I think who someone said Liam, where's Liam? I thought I saw Liam here before. Liam, are you here?
Yeah, man.
I thought yeah. I think I agree with him. He said quest 9 is about 4x as difficult as quest 8. Now I think that is other people have told me the same kind of number. Okay, in the rough ballpark. So if you budgeted like 2 days for quest number 8, then you should budget 8 days for quest number 9, which is a whole week. So please don't underestimate that. Especially if it is the first time dealing with pointers. Once and the reason I say that is because once you know how to keep a clean house, then it doesn't matter at all, because it's just in the background, and you can focus on other things, and it just happens automatically. And that is what getting comfortable with pointers is, meaning that every time you allocate something, it's like you're sitting on a needle. Well, it's not like you're actually sitting on it. It is a minor discomfort, and you want to tie up all your loose ends. Okay, and it's not something that automatically happens. You just have to practice, and practice being discomfort, meaning that if you don't look for it, you will very easily be able to overlook the discomfort. That's what I mean. Okay, it's like find a wine taster or a musical expert who can distinguish microtonal differences. So and like that. But most people don't even look at observe these things. But I think what you can do essentially is to get to that level. All right. Anyway, so how about someone here? But Caden, you haven't taken the screen in a long time, and I think you should take the screen. Yeah, okay. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right, share your screen, and then everybody, more people will get a chance. He's just going to do the first part, creating a random object, and then a point, 2 objects maybe. And Caden, you know what? You can actually start doing this on your own, and I'm not going to interject at all. And I'll just say what needs to get done, and then you can. And as you're typing it, just say what you're doing, meaning keeping the airwaves occupied all the time, especially now since everybody's camera is off and only mine is on. Okay, and so you've got to be talking. And I would say that if you're not going to be talking about the algorithm or what you're trying to do, even if it's random stuff, just call out the code, right? You say C out, left shift, you just call out the code slowly so that you have the airwaves occupied. Is that okay with everybody? Not just Caden. Is that okay? Yeah. Hey, Caden, you need to increase the font size a bit more. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fine. No, one more is actually better for me. Yeah. Okay, great. That's fantastic. So you can get rid of the whole thing. So what I'm looking for is creating. No, hopefully everybody's understood what a pointer is and how to represent pointers. Now, if you haven't, or Kaden, if you need my help there, I'll jump in and just give you a really quick overview as Kaden is typing by talking him through with the basic syntax and all. But here's what we want. I'm not going to talk about pointers to an integer, pointers to a character, right? Basic types, because that much you can actually read and understand yourself. You have to tell me if that is an unrealistic expectation, okay? Because we actually did finish the holiday break, okay? So, but you should tell me. Just getting to the feel for pointers to ordinary objects, that's fine. So, but what we're going to try and do here is create any two objects of your choice, okay? Put it in comments, and then you can take over from there, okay? Put it in some comments, right? Yeah, class code for today. And then you're obviously going to fork it, and the next person is going to take on, right? So you can say, yeah, class code. And in comments, you can say, what did we talk about? Yeah. Create any two objects, A and B. They don't have to be called A and B, right? A and B. And in your main, both have integer data elements. Well, I don't know, both have different kinds of data, but forget about data elements. That should be your, you can do whatever you want there. A should have a pointer to an object of type B. Okay. Now, if you need clarification, oh, no, you put it in comments. Put it in comments, and you're going to type this afterwards. Okay. Yeah. Class and uppercase. Let's use uppercase for class names. So classes A and B. A should have a pointer to an object of type B. Yeah, and click any two classes you want. You can create, student, and then senior. I don't know. Car, vehicle, whatever it is you want. Okay. Or you can get fun. So you just want to create that. Is that enough of input from me? If you want me to talk more, I can absolutely talk more. But I'd like Caden, Caden. I forgot who took over. Right, I'd like Caden to take over and code the rest of it. If you have any questions, you can ask me to turn the laptop around, right? So I can come back here and but if you don't have any problems, I'd like to leave it in your hands. Now, after Caden is done with this, it's very simple, isn't it? You can, in his main, he's going to create an object A, and A will already have a pointer to the object of type B. Now, and then create a method for A that says show or something like that, and create a method for B also called show. And show basically says, oh, I'm an object of type A. And and B show says I'm an object of type B. That's all. Okay. So what you have to do in your main is basically create an object of type A, and through it access the B's show method. I think it's an easy enough challenge. Okay, it may be too easy, but it may be too difficult also. So, based on how you guys do here, we'll get a very good estimate on how we can take it to the next stage. Is that okay? Now I'm gonna get the okay. I got the all right. This is the balloons. This is the balloons. Oh no, this is I keep forgetting what the balloons is. Julia knows. So I got balloons before. No, maybe that's not balloons. No, that's not what it is. Yeah, balloons is much cooler. It's the coolest of all. I don't want to, yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. I got balloons. All right. Anyway, cool. Thank you. All right. Oh, you guys can't get any of these, right? Because you are all on no camera. Oh, that's too bad. Okay. But anyway, I got them. So great. Okay, I'm gonna turn this laptop around, but I'm gonna be here. Okay, I'm gonna be here, and then if you got to talk, okay? Hey, if nothing, Caden, just call out your code and say B star BPTR and so on and so forth. That's okay. But if it's if it's nothing on the airwaves, that means something is wrong. Is that okay? And other people should also call, chime in and say, hey, Caden, there's a semicolon missing after the class. Yeah, that's okay too. Yeah. And then in the public method, You need to have the show method. You know, the public, both of them should have a show. Yeah, show. Yeah, void show, and both of them. And you can and someone could say, hey, why don't we do it out of line? All of that is practice. Okay, it's not just, you know, oh, it works. Caden's done it one way, it works. I know how it works. No, that's not how math proofs work, right? Because you know how it works one way. No, you get stuck. There's 100 different ways you can get stuck everywhere. So you got to get stuck in different places, and the only way you can get stuck in different places is just keep trying it different ways. And so here, just because Cadence got it working this way, you should say, all right, I know how it's going to work. I know, right? Let's try a different way. Let's move out of line. Someone should say that. Okay, it should not always be the professor who comes back and says, hey, you know what I want to do is let's take show outside. Right, make the declaration inside the class, but the body should be outside, and that way we get to practice it that way. Or you could say, I want to do it inline because I've never done it like that. That's a great reason. So if you want to do it for a particular reason, that's great. But you could say, well, he's already done it this way. Now let's try and do it a different way. Yeah. So it's not that it's going to look untidy. Maybe, the first class will have a different, inline. The second class will be out of line. That's okay. No, here, I think the goal here is not so much as getting perfectly symmetrical and beautiful code. Okay. We're going to try as much as possible. But, these symmetries saying, well, everything like show should be inline or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not enough practice. I want to do inline here, out of line here, because I just get better practice. Who's gonna, we're not gonna put this in a museum. So if you take that thing in that spirit, you'll be able to experiment more. I would highly encourage. Yeah. Right. And even if, hey, Kaden, there are errors or also improvements that you can make to this code. I'm not going to take over and take to the next guy. Okay. Until all of these things are fixed, and you haven't written the main. Okay. So I'm going to leave it in your hands, but you're going to call and you're going to talk. Okay. Is that okay? Can I take off? Kaden, you got to start talking, and then I'll just take off.
Sorry, my mic was off.
Okay. You got to get this working. All of you guys. Okay. Not just Kaden. All you guys, and we have to have a main. In the main, you're going to instantiate an A object, and through the A object, you're going to go to the B object, and you're going to say my A object arrow, right? B arrow. No, my A object arrow, B member, right? Arrow. I hope you all know what the arrow means, right? If not, call me. I'll come and explain, right? Sure. And that should say I am a B object, okay? Even though you have an A object, you're going to say A object, arrow, my B guy, arrow, his show, right? So that that is going to say I'm a B. It won't say I'm an A. So that is the behavior we're going for, okay? So it's a really simple exercise. It'll get you started with this, and then we'll take it to the next level, okay? The next person to take over from here will now create just one small leap from here. Is instead of saying from A to B, we're just going to go from A to A itself. Okay, that doesn't mean that you have one inside the other. You're just going to say here is an object, but it has a pointer to another one of the same kind. Okay, it's very different from being inside of this. And I say this because in my experience with lots and lots of students, that is the biggest stumbling block for a lot of people. I find is that they just think that it's inside. It's not inside. It's just pointing to. It's just having an address. I have an address to my neighbor's home here. It doesn't mean that I have his entire home here, right? So they'll all. So like if we think of that in that way, I think it'll all be very easy and simple. Okay, all right. Thank you. I'm just going to be here, okay, and I'm listening for you guys participating. And call me, okay? Call me if any of you is stuck. You guys there?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to be talking. You got to be talking. Someone's got to be talking, or at the very least, Kaden. Okay, whatever he's typing, curly brace. Yeah, that'll be better.
So
I think
professor said it earlier, but you're missing semicolons like after the class, like all the way at the end there. Yeah.
After the braces, yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on? There's no voice, and there's no voice on in the speakers. Are you done?
Wait, are they supposed to point to each other?
No, no, no. A should just point to B, that's all.
Oh, B doesn't point to anything.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So what
Now,
is B?
you can have it the other way if you want, right? So because you've got A declared first, and then you can keep the compiler happy and say B has an object of type A, a pointer to an object of type A.
So when you're in class A public and it says B parentheses A star pointer, like, is that the constructor?
Yeah, and it takes in. Shoot, I think I mixed it up.
So
Wait.
shouldn't it be the
Yeah, it should be
A
A.
and then B?
Yeah.
What is that thing where on line 12 where you've written equals pointer? Like, what does that do?
It's part of the constructor. So he sets the parameter to the B pointer. Don't you have to do the same constructor for class B?
I wasn't sure for. Okay, wait. So for class B, should I just make it like an integer or something?
Yeah.
Then maybe just add like a public variable of an int type.
You're gonna set I to value. Or yeah.
Value equals
Value to
I.
I.
Yeah.
Value to I. Yeah.
You can't use dot because it's a pointer, so you have to use the arrow signature. Yeah, there you go.
Would that work? Like just that?
Think so? It looks correct. Do you want to try running it?
Yeah. Let me test.
Oh wait, oh yeah, the main function. Also, should you select C++ as the language? Just so that it like hopefully wait. Okay, I didn't change. So yeah, cool. Now you could be able to run it. You have to define the class B before A. Yeah. You have to include IOStream.
Do we also have to include S stream?
I don't think so.
For I have a question. Like, when do you usually incorporate that? If you
S-
don't include it here.
I think S stream is for when, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but S stream is for when you're trying to convert different types of like different value types into a string. So like if you
Oh,
want to
so like-
concatenate like int and all that kind
So
of
like
stuff.
using the toString method, for example.
I guess.
Okay.
You do like the string stream and then like you input like the integer and the string, and so you can just kind of concatenate it easily.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there's some like float point errors or something. I don't know. You have to do ampersand b because it's
Yeah.
a pointer.
So you put it between the two B's.
When I said, I mean, you could have that defined. Wait, so there, then it would be. Wait, could you remove that ampersand and then put it before the B and A parentheses B? Yeah. Maybe that'll work.
Yeah, there.
Cool.
All right, we finished.
Maybe.
Ask prof.
Yeah. Are we finished yet? Do we do it right?
I think that's what he said to do. So
Wait, is he here?
I don't know.
Is it done?
Yeah, I think so.
Great. Let's take a look. So where's your main? All right. So B, all right, you create a B object and then you create an A object using the B's address. I see. Okay, great. And then A dot show should return. Why does it say A arrow 10? A dot show.
that's the show function because the B value is 10.
Oh, I see. It was just a miscommunication in what I wanted to say was B should also have a show method, and then you want to call B's show method through A. That's what I wanted to. Yeah. So it's just lost in translation. Right. There you go. Oh, no, yeah, that's right. And then this should just say I am a B. That's it, right? B show should say I am a B. And A show should say I am an A, that's all. And then the goal is in your main, you would have an A object, but you would have to make it, you have to access B's show method from. So is everybody okay with this, comfortable enough with this? If everybody's comfortable, we can move on to the next stage. Thank you very much, Kaden, okay? And I did hear that a lot of people were helping, so that is fantastic too. All right. So I'm pretty sure I heard a couple more voices than just Caden's. Yes or no?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, I find this very confusing, but I guess
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Liam, what is confusing? Let's just make sure there's no confusion, because it's okay if we spend a lot of time on this. Because if you have, confusion in the later topics, that's okay. We can
I'd
move
say
on.
mainly how on line 27 it says like B pointer is equal to pointer. But like, so is it being declared in 26 the object pointer?
So
It's mainly just that.
do you want me to explain this? Yeah. And in
Yes.
fact, I think so why don't we stick some comments in the code? All right. So because the way that it is written right now, it doesn't have any comments, and obviously if I look at it, I might have the same question as Liam too. All right, is that okay, Kaden? We're gonna stick some comments, okay? So get rid of the blue part. Let's get more coding space and all. Get rid of the blue part. Click the arrow. Yeah. All right. Okay. And maybe we'll even change the code. Hang on just a sec. Okay. B int I value I. Okay. All right. And just for practice, we're just going to make some changes here. Exactly the same effect as we have now. It's just a different way of doing things. And Liam, don't forget, and don't worry that we'll come to the point that you made. Okay. All right. So int B, B's constructor. Okay. B's constructor. Instead of I, right. So let's do, if it's going to be inline, just do it. Let's do it in the other way. Okay. So put a colon. Put a colon there. Put a colon there after there. Yeah. And then say value. Yeah, right. And then put the get rid of that, and then open close on the same line too. All right. Okay. I don't think. Do we need the semicolon after that? I don't think we need the semicolon. Get rid of the semicolon. We'll find out if the compiler complains. Yeah. No, not there. Not there. What happened? So something happened here. No, that looks right now. Yeah. Okay, all right now, and then show could also be condensed into one line. Okay, so show and then the C out, and then just so that it's 3 lines seems too much for something so simple. Yeah, all right, great. Okay, now let's do A just like that. Now in A you have a pointer to a B. All right, so we're getting closer to what Liam was concerned with. Okay, what that says is that A is a class. Hey, Liam, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So what that says, in this case, we're talking about line number 20, okay? Line number 20.
Okay.
Yeah, Liam? Okay. So what that says is that class A is a class. If you make an object of the type A, everybody, if you make an object of type A, inside of that object, you'll find a variable, which is a pointer. And that's just an address which will tell you where a B object exists. Okay, so is that a mouthful? Everybody's got to tell me, okay? Because that's, I think this is the biggest challenge with this particular topic generally, because once students get comfortable with that idea, that's what a pointer is, everything else just basically falls into place. Most of the difficulties that downstream students have with the later class is not because of the challenges of the later class. Many times I find that they're struggling with the basic concepts, how pointers work and things like that, that impedes you big time in the big problems. But if people are solid here, it doesn't take a lot of time there. So that's why I say, let's spend a lot of time here. It doesn't matter, okay? Because, the remaining time we have in CS2A until the final, which is like the middle of December, everything is about pointers, okay? So let's just make, I know that in a lot of classes, I think, comparable classes to CS2A, they don't get into pointers in so much detail, okay? But the California CID system, I've read it, and it's very clear that, pointers are introduced in CS2A. And that is why many of the CS2B students that I get, they're not familiar with pointers and linked lists, and they have a lot of difficulty in the first few parts of weeks of the class. But we have a lot of time now, and we should just not say, all right, I'm done with Quest 8 and I'm going to take off from CS2A and focus on something else. Not a good idea, because all of that time, and even if it means you understand pointers, and that is the biggest mistake other students have made in the past, including me when I was like you. Okay, when you say, I know how this works, or, I understand one particular way in which the proof works, and then you understand the proof. That is the worst possible thing that a student can believe, I think, okay? Because usually that means you got lucky and found one way that works. And the right way to actually understand the problem is to find many different ways of doing it so that you actually get the whole problem now. And I'll say this again, that is really what distinguishes experts, right? And because they know how all the different ways in which people can, things can go wrong. And because they've tried all these different ways, and they say, hey, no, that's not going to work. And you can simulate a whole lot of things without having to try them. Okay, all right. So you have to get your mind around this. inside of an A object, there is a pointer, which is basically an address that says, if you go to this address, you'll find a B object. That's all, okay? And is everybody comfortable with this? We're not moving on from here until you guys are, okay? Because it's okay, because we'll get the game, it'll be fun to play, but what's the point? It'll just be another class where we develop a game and it was fun and it's gone. Yeah, so let's make sure that we actually understand every single thing along the way. And then the game is basically just a treat that we may get to implement or not.
I still didn't understand that last point. Can you reiterate it again?
What last point? So when I make an object of type A, yeah, inside of that object, I will, hey, Jink, don't switch off your camera, okay? Because I can share the video if you have your camera on and off, yeah. So if I make an object of type A, inside of that object, I'll have an address which will tell me where I can find an object of type B. That's that. Vikram, are you clear with that?
Yeah.
That's what this means. So inside my object, there is a public. You don't have to make it public even, right? So you can make it private, because B star pointer could be private. Change it into private. Yeah, Kaden. So inside of this object, there is a pointer. And it is a pointer. What is it pointing to? It is pointing to an object of type B. Now, here's a stylistic thing, okay? Some people say don't do it, but it makes no sense to me. And here's why, right? So move that star, which is stuck to B right now, and stick the star to the B pointer, okay? The space should be on this side. And here's my reason for this, okay? So B star is not a type. Suppose I have B star XYZ, 3 variables, right? Only X is treated as a pointer, and then Y and Z are not treated as B star, because B star is not a type, and it really leads to lots of confusion from programmers who read that kind of code. But if you say that we're going for type B and star B, star B pointer, the contents of that pointer is of this type, then you can have B space star X, star Y, star Z, right? Each one of those is a pointer whose contents is of type B. Does that make sense? Right? It's just pedantic. Yeah, it's very pedantic, but I think it's good practice because it reduces confusion overall in your own code also, and reading other people's code. All right, okay. All right, so that's what it means. Now, if everybody's okay with this, you got to give a thumbs up or something like that, so that we know we can move on to the next stage. Yeah, all right. Krisha was the only one. We'll just minimize the screen and see more people also. Yeah, and you see a lot more thumbs up, okay? Before we can move on, we just we want to make sure that we have an object, and inside the object is a pointer. A pointer is just an address. Inside the object is an address, right? That address gives me a B object. It tells me where to go to get a B object. And then, but I want a B object show method to run. So what I'll do is I'll get the A object, use the A object, go to the B object, and then call the B object show method. That's all, okay? It's very simple exercise, one simple jump. Yeah. Now, yeah, when you're comfortable with this, the next level of this, someone else should take a screen from this, right? Will be to create not just one object to another object. We'll have many objects of the same kind. Now we can have interesting things happen, right? Now you can have a loop, because you can have a loop of many different objects of the same kind. Yeah, that is essentially what a linked list is. Okay, so we'll go ahead, and that'll be our next stage. Yeah, and then when we have that, we'll look at some interesting visualization techniques for linked lists, just using ASCII stuff that we've done so far, and then after that, we'll try and put that in a game. Okay, wrap that into a game. All right, so how about is everybody okay with this? I'm not seeing many thumbs up, which means either you got a question or you're okay with this, right? So give me a thumbs up, or pop a question and say, hey, there's something here that I don't understand, like Liam said, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so go ahead and yeah. All right, I will move as soon as we get all of you to give me a thumbs up. Otherwise, you got to give me a question. Okay, if you don't have your thumbs up, hey, well, how come your thumbs are disappearing now? I saw these people with Zach and all, you had their thumbs up and then it's gone now. Rebecca, okay, Kira, Zach. Hey, what happened, Zach? I mean, I saw your thumbs up and then it disappeared. Even Kira's gone now.
The thumbs up
Just
are these
temporary.
Yeah, you just but when you click the reaction, it only stays there for a certain amount of time.
Oh, wow. That's so funny because in my meetings at Foothill, the other meetings, people always have to ask and say, hey, do you have a question or you forgot to put your thumbs down or something like that? Oh, raise your hand. Yeah, yeah. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I think you should raise your hand. Okay, not thumbs up. Thumbs up is temporary, like the balloons. But I think if you raise your hand, do you have a raise a hand thing on your reactions thing? Yeah. I think that'll basically stay up. And then everybody raise your hand and then we'll just move on to the next one, okay? Thanks, Kira. Okay, I had no idea. It's actually cool. There is a feature called hey Chris, you should also put your hand up so that symmetrically it looks nice. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. But anyway, thanks for pointing it out, Kira. Because I actually had no idea that these things matter. Hey, Kaden, do you have the URL with you? Not the URL, where you fork the code, you say share the code, and then, hey, some hands are not up, or Chris, Kaden, and then Jonah, Chloe, Dylan. I think Chloe is not from our class, and maybe one of the invitees, just small either, right? I think some of the people who joined us from the future right back from the future is winter enrollees. Are you guys winter enrollees, by the way? Just small and Chloe. I see a future student here. Okay, future friend here. Yeah. Okay, it's Chloe too. Yeah. All right. So yeah, it is pretty cool. And by the way, if you're a student of 2A, you don't have to worry at all about linked lists and things that we're doing today, because some students do get frightened by these pointer structures, but it'll just come automatically fall out of you can talk to all of these people, right? Everyone here in class will be happy to tell you how these things go, and it'll just come naturally by the time you're in week 6 or 7. All right, Ria and Liam and Jasmine. All right, okay, great. Let's move on to the next stage. How about hey, Angelos, you never coded last time, right? You said you'll go next time or something like that. Angelos,
Hi, Professor.
you want to take the screen today?
I'm not on my computer.
Okay, how
I'm on my
about
phone. Yeah.
all right, okay.
sorry,
So
I can
you
code
gotta
on
figure out
Thursday.
a way in which you can get on screen and code, okay?
I can do it on Thursday.
All right, okay. Hey Jonah, it's a very long time since you coded, okay? Since the first few weeks or something like that. You want to take the screen? Or unless Krish or Krishav, no, Krishav coded recently, Liam coded recently, Isidore, anybody can really, but otherwise, Jonah, you should go ahead and take the screen. Jonah, are you here? Yeah, maybe he's taking a break. All right, how are you here? How come you guys are all silent now? Hey, are you guys here? Are you guys taking off or something? Can you
No,
guys
I'm
hear
here.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Nobody
All right,
else
okay.
wants to
Eric,
go.
yeah, Eric actually gave me a thumbs up or something. Does it mean you want to code? Eric, you want to code? You
No,
want to code?
no, it was just that I was trying to signal to you
All right, I'm
non-verbally
sorry.
that
Yeah. All right, but
yeah.
thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, I don't want to scare you off saying, "Hey, thumbs up," come and code. No, not like that. All right. How about? All right, Caesar, long time. Okay, so Caesar, well, you want to code? You also said you had a phone the other day. Okay, so you can code today.
Yeah, I'll just need a lot of help. That's all.
Yeah, that's okay. Everybody needs a lot of help. Okay, and people will, there's Chris here. Chris can also walk you through the code even if I'm not here. Okay, and then other people here who've done quest 9, like I know Rebecca and so many people here. They'll all be able to just chime in and share your screen. Go to online GDB and go to the link that Caden shared. and then fork the code so that you get your own copy. And here what we want to do is we'll just change the comments. What we want to do is create an object A. Let's not call it A, just call it, I call it A, doesn't matter, okay? Call it an object A, and then the object A should have two things in it. Let's just say it has an integer, some, just an integer, two private things, okay? An integer. Wow, your font is, yeah, I see, okay. Hey, that's really nice. Your font is like, big ass for me, so that's nice. You can actually go smaller too if you want. Get rid of the blue part, get rid of the blue part. And then the white part too. Yeah, actually this, if necessary, you can go smaller. Now I can see all of you and get decent visibility into. No, I can still see all of you. I can see all of you now. Okay, and still, get decent font size, half the screen. Okay, all right, so here's what we want to do. Go to the right to the top, and we'll put the comments in. And then again, I want to disappear. Okay, after I put the comments in, you can call me and ask me for any clarifications about the comments, what you need to do. Otherwise, I expect that Chris, who is here, who the hell is Chris? Yeah, Chris is here. Yeah, he raised his hand and all. Okay, Chris is here. Hey, Chris, you're here, right? You can also field questions. Yes?
Yep.
All right, so Chris is here, and I know whole bunch of you. I mean, Chris is a last resort. I know a whole bunch of you have been working on Quest 9, made progress in Quest 9, so you know about pointers and stuff like that. You should be able to help too. So, if Caesar says, what do I do next? Maybe Rebecca says, curly brace, next line. Whatever it is, right? Because people who've already done it, just jump in and say, this is what you do. Just like what I'm doing right now. And meaning that you get into the habit of seeing that what I do is not magic really, because once you know this, you're going to do exactly the same thing. And so by doing what I do, you'll actually know this is what it is. It's all very simple. That's basically, so you try and do exactly what I do. Call out the code for someone else to type. I think that's a fantastic experience. Okay, because by the way, it's really cool because you don't have to type anything. As you get older and get RSI and all, and I can't, if I type for half an hour at a stretch, my wrists start aching like mad. And but your age, I was typing a lot, so I think you're okay. But you got to be careful, and that is a good useful skill to actually dictate things and get things done. Because imagine later on, right, you're going to have an algorithm, and then ChatGPT will write something for you, or some system will write it for you, and you look at the code and say, no, actually we want to change that for loop on line 47 to turn it into while loop and think the condition should be different on a different pointer. Okay, and you'd be able to interact with a coding system like that. And and typing the code in by yourself is really a bottleneck to slow your mind down to mechanical speed of your atoms. And so by just practicing, getting into the habit of dictating your code to get typed by a friend or some other volunteer who helps, help each other. I do it, and back and forth. You'll just get into the habit and mindset, because later on, it is not a question of, I think most of these things can be written by, decent AI out there will get the code done. But the thing will depend on your understanding of the code and saying exactly what needs to be changed so that you get, move past the 98% of the satisfaction to 100% satisfaction, 99.9% satisfaction, because that last mile takes a great deal of effort. That's where the human ingenuity will slowly start getting more and more channeled, because right now a lot of human ingenuity is going into doing all the rote stuff, the mechanical stuff and the boring stuff. Once the AI takes over all of that, you'll be able to just understand what it does, or make sure that it's doing what we want it to do. And then say, hey, you know what, that's not so cool. Maybe use a lighter shade of white there. Okay. And that kind of thing. Because that's where I think the great value will be eventually, because everything else will be done for us. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So class B. So here's what we want to do. So now, yeah, but put another comment there and say, new task, starting with Caesar. Okay. New task starting with Caesar. Okay, so let's say on the next line, On the next line, you can say, create an object A, which has inside of it two private members, an integer, and call this the payload, okay? Give it the name payload, P-A-Y-L-O-A-D, okay? It's an integer payload. Two private members. Private members. Hey, where's someone's hey, someone's playing the violin, or this is Brian on his guitar or something like that. Did everybody hear some note here?
I
Yeah,
did.
Heard it.
I think it's someone trying to talk, but it's not coming through well.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, if you guys see something in chat that I missed, you should just bring it up. All right. Create an object yes, hey, someone was trying to say something.
What was after the two private members?
Oh, two private members. On the next line, you can say an integer payload. On the next line, you can say an integer variable called payload, variable called payload, variable called payload, yeah, and make it all lowercase payload, because it's going to be a member, not the class. And then create a class A. Create a class A, not create an object A. Right on line 5, create a class A, an object, which has inside of it. All right, so I think it's self-explanatory, right? So the class does not have things inside of it. The class makes an object which will have things inside of it. Now, is everybody okay with that? What I just said? It goes back to classes and objects, but this is the distinction. What we said there on line 5 is totally confusing to a beginner. So I want to make sure that, because it's confusing to a beginner, it's a great point to make sure that you understand what the hell this is means, right? I'm saying there is create a class A which has inside of it two private members. Now tell me that for a beginner that is confusing. But the reason it's confusing, because a class cannot have actual members inside of it. A class will make an object, and the object will have two members inside of it. The class tells you how to make an object with two members inside of it. Does it make sense? All right, maybe it'll take a little while, okay? Maybe it'll take a little while, but I think the important thing is just to keep it in your mind all the time. Meaning that after this, if you just move on to English or some other subject, and just come back to this next week, that's not, it's not going to help at all. So you got to keep thinking about it every day. Say, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? By the end of the week, it'll be, you'll know exactly what the hell it means. Right? It just gets better every day, and it's not noticeable, and people give up, saying, well, nothing noticeable happens, so I'm just going to give up the effort. No, a lot of things happen that we don't see at all, right? And we miss out on these things because we can't see them. And so you just keep an eye out for your personal improvement. Which maybe if you can, when my daughter went to elementary school, one of her challenges was, to find out how thin a penny was or something like that, right? And I thought it was a really interesting challenge. I think it was, in kindergarten, and so they learned by themselves. And I think as the good way, the interesting way is to measure a lot of them and then divide. Yeah. And but to get that intuitively just means that you have to stack them all up and say, hey, right, that is how we get to that. And I think you can apply exactly the same technique to even personal improvement, and not give up and say, after maybe 3 weeks of effort you didn't make any progress. No, you made a lot of progress, but you just you can't toss it all off just because you didn't notice anything. So all right, so here's what we want to do. And you should, all right, on the next line, enter on the next line, say and a pointer variable to an object of type A. That's all, okay? Of type A, and forget about private and public, okay? Just make it all public. For now, just make it all public, okay? Just and then create a class A, two public members. Yeah, we don't just make them two public members, right? So let's forget about classes and public and private and the distinction between them, because that's a different subject altogether, right? Like no, on line number 5, where you say private, just say public members. Yeah. All right. So and a pointer. All right, that's all. Okay, so let's do that. And in your main, you're going to, and yeah, on the next line, create a main method. Create a main method with a chain of 5 such objects with random integers in them. Right? CHAIN. There's one more. Yeah, variable on line. Yeah, also variable on line 6. Yeah, variable line 6. Oh, it was a line. Yeah, line 6. Yeah. Right? Okay. So what is this? Create a main method with a chain. Yeah, 5 such objects, and then use a for loop to print out the numbers in sequence with a cout between them or something like that. Okay. No, go to the next line after, and then next line, and yeah, and not a for loop. It's a for FOR. Okay, for loop. That tells me you need more practice. Okay, Caesar, you need a lot more practice before, so before the exam. And so, and then use a for loop. Yeah, okay, and then use a for loop to print out the numbers 1 line at a time. Okay, now so you don't have to go into the heap and create new objects. You can just say, object A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. That's all up to you. Or you can use new if you're familiar with that notation, is to, give me a new object of type A. That'll give you a pointer already. Or you can say A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, 5 objects, and you say ampersand like you did before. Right, so you got the addresses of 5 objects, and you can create a chain that way. So you got a total lot of freedom here. You got a freedom to do your list in any way you want, right? And you surprised me, and because last time when I came back, I was actually surprised by Cadence implementation. I thought you would have done new and created an object of type B and stuck it there and all, but I was pleasantly surprised, in fact, to say, hey, actually they used all the things on the stack, right? It's very nice. But you don't have to do the same thing here. You can just to be, different and play around and do it differently. Maybe, 2 on the stack and 2 on the heap, just to play around, not just to be efficient, but just to play around and see what you can do to get the same kind of structure. This is ugly, but it works. This is beautiful. It works, right? This is efficient, non-efficient, but the idea is, do they all work in the end? And getting the sense for correctness is the most important thing. When we start leaving the ordinary space of simple control structures like this to spatial algorithms in space that you cannot see directly. Yes? Okay. So things that you can deal with, that you can see in the empirical world, a whole lot more easy to handle. The things that you cannot even see. And so we're talking about space now, structures in space. They're actually just like physical structures, but they're hyperdimensional structures, maybe, right? Maybe have more than 3 dimensions. And they're all in space, and you're going to apply the same kinds of logic that would work here also there. So that's why you got to be like super duper sure-footed here. You know exactly where the steps are, to fall into the abyss. And when you're comfortable with that, you can just close your eyes and go there. And because you're exactly the same thing you're going to do in space that you can't see, but you practice so much here that you don't need your eyes anymore. You can see in the dark. So out there, it's dark matter, but you'll still be able to see the structure because you don't need the eyes anymore. You just know where to put your feet. Okay, so I don't know. It seems very dramatic and all, but I think that's what it is. You do a lot of practice. Now here's what's going to happen. People are going to call out the code, and Caesar's going to type, because Caesar already said he's like he needs a lot of practice. So someone is going to call out the code. If fall all the way back to Chris if necessary, right? And because no airwaves should be completely occupied all the time. Someone should call out the code, take turns in calling out the code necessary. But this is what needs to happen. Is everybody okay with this? Can I, leave this in your hands, right? Turn the laptop around and take off. Is that okay with you guys? Not take off, right? I'm just going to be here. I'm going to listen to you guys. And, we might even be able to share this video because nobody shared their, cameras and all. So I think that'll be really cool. So we'd be able to share this video too. I think if it works, we'll just do it every week like this. That we'll just record the video and then share it without student faces. I think that was the biggest issue in that we had violated before. All right, everybody okay? Do you have any questions? So far? All right. Otherwise, I'm just going to take, go to the other side of the computer. Yes or no? Thumbs up? No? Well, maybe a couple of thumbs up and then I'll take off. Right. All right. Chris said, okay, you'll at least, have my back. All right, great. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. And I'd like to hear more voices in the air so that I know that people are actually having fun with this. We're getting closer. Okay. Once we've done that, 7:07, we still have a whole hour. We may be able to do the game, right? The next, I'll take over after this, and I'll say the next person to take over the screen is actually going to do part of the game. We'll start working on the game after that, right? So we'll have a great deal of fun. Someone should dictate the code, okay? Caesar is waiting for you guys to call out the code so he can type it. And get rid of all of this code, okay? Get rid of all of the code except the comments that we have right now. Yeah. You can get rid of all of it, all of it. Yeah, there you go. Right? So from here. So what you have to do is just implement the new comments, and anyone can call out the code, and then Caesar will type. Caesar, you can also type on your own if you want, but ideally someone else calls out the code and you type. If you have any questions, call me.
So make sure to keep a semicolon after that last brace.
After the class A.
The second brace. And then so in class A, two public members. So we're gonna create a variable int payload.
And then does that get
Semicolon, yeah.
a semicolon? It doesn't get parentheses?
No parentheses yet. It's not a method. We're just creating a variable. And then we're gonna create a pointer variable object type A. Oh, so you don't actually type out object type A. Wait, does anyone else know how you do it? I'm also kind of confused here.
Just A, the variable name, no?
Okay.
Yeah, so A star object.
So put a space
Lucas.
between A and the star.
After it or before the star?
Yeah,
It's
like that.
It
And then
doesn't
put
matter.
semicolon.
It's kind of like a stylistic.
And then put what?
Semicolon.
And then would these two be the public member?
Don't we also have to create a constructor or no?
Yes. Create a constructor.
So then after object or line 17, click enter. And then say capital A and then parentheses. And then you would put int space I comma A or capital A like B space B.
Space. And then lowercase b or capital B?
Yeah, lowercase. And then you'd put a curly brace and then click enter. And then you set payload equals I semicolon.
Payload equals.
Why are we including the A in the constructor?
Oh, wait, I thought we had to.
I thought normally you set it to a default null pointer. No?
Oh, okay.
And
So
then you have a method that allows you to add on to it.
yeah, so in that case, we just set object to null pointer. So click enter.
No, after the yeah.
Yeah, and then say object equals null PTR.
It's
No.
NULL, like no.
Oh no, no, no.
Semicolon. Semicolon. and division.
Remove the A, B from the constructor.
Okay, okay.
And the comma. Then you want to, after the curly brace on line 21, click enter. After line 22, yeah. Say int space main. No, yeah, main. Parentheses and then curly brace. Then say return 0. So that return 0 will be the last line of that method. And before, so after line 23, click enter. So we want to chain
Wait,
of 5.
Shouldn't we have
Yeah.
the main outside?
Oh, wait.
The main goes outside.
Yeah, wait, sorry.
And you also need to define a method in order to string one onto the next. No? Or should we have the outside the class?
Wait,
Like-
what were you saying?
You need to define a method that allows you to like
Chain the
attach
5
a
elements.
new object onto it. Can you copy the int main outside of the class? Yeah. And delete the one inside as well. That's still inside, like out line 29. Because that's outside the braces class.
Like
And then after the constructor, you want to define a method called, I don't know, let's say add object. So just,
is a constructor the A parentheses?
yeah, that's the constructor.
And so then the method would be like outside of that code.
Right. Change the return value. Just have it be like A, and then star add object.
And then object.
Or no, add underscore object because we're defining a new method. Then parentheses. Uh. Okay. And then
Do we want
yes.
A star as a parameter?
Yeah. So then
Capital A. So in the parentheses.
In parentheses.
and then space star. I don't know. What should we call it?
A OBJ.
Sure. And then curly braces. Need to close the notes. Should we have it attached to the end or the front?
The end is fine.
Okay. So then all you would do is you would just have object equals obj. Then semicolon. And you should go to your main function now.
Mhm.
And then new line. Then A. And then let's just call it lowercase a1. Like capital A and then a1. Just goes. Equals new a capital A parentheses. I don't know what number should we have it.
3.
Sure, doesn't matter what number, just arbitrary number. Then semicolon. And then
For loop.
I think we just make like a1 through 5 and then link them
Oh, right. Okay.
and then for loop.
So then why don't you highlight line 32 and paste it like 5 times on each following line?
Without the tabs. Still 1 to match.
And then switch the 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5.
Then just add another one.
And then changes the numbers to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the parentheses.
In the parentheses.
Or whatever number you want, doesn't really matter.
Cool. I could have like the last one, like 26 for no reason.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Literally doesn't matter. Okay, and then there's this. Cindy. That add object.
So we would do like something like a1 dot add object parentheses a2.
Oh, okay. You would actually, since we defined the return value to be, you could do, so do A1 and then no lowercase a1 because it's a variable. Then dot add object.
Wait, should we make a return type void in that case?
No, you'll see why. Add object and then just put in parentheses A2. And then to the right of the parentheses, do arrow, like dash. No, so have it be, wait, what are these things called? Hyphen and then greater than?
Hyphen and greater than symbol.
Yeah. And then add object. And then A3, and then you just keep doing that until you get to A5.
So,
Oh wait, and for the first A1 dot, it has to be A1, the arrow thing, because when you define A1 equals new A, it's a pointer, not the actual object.
so the
So-
arrows serve to link each object with each other.
Yeah. The first dot, A1 dot add, change it to A1 arrow add. Yeah.
And then I copy this line and then just paste it 5 times.
Yeah. And keep the A3 in parentheses.
And then A3 in parentheses.
Just copy the add object of A3, like, yeah.
Mhm.
And then do arrow, paste. No. Just
Keep it on the same line.
stay on the same line, then add another arrow. And then paste it. And then change the A3 to A4. And then another arrow, and then do the same thing for A5. And then semicolon. That should have linked them. Hopefully.
How come for this one we stopped at A5? And we don't have to like do
Wait.
it for 6 or 56.
So A1 to
Wait, no,
add
then go back.
A2. And that would make. Oh wait, we didn't add a return statement in that. So then have it. So at the back of add object.
Here?
No, go to line 24 or 25, I mean. Right. And you want to put return.
Return object.
Return obj. That's like one. And make sure you spell return right.
Do we have to do the same for this one?
No, that's a constructor. So on line 16,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna press enter, like before it,
Before.
and then do public colon. And then just
Put your cursor before the P and delete.
yeah, just remove the tab before public.
The tab before public?
So yeah, before P and then delete. So click.
Oh.
Okay.
I hope this works. It should, in theory.
I press run now.
No, we still need to add the for loop.
A loop.
The loop.
Yep. So after line 38, enter. Then we'll add the for loop. Remove the word loop. It's not how you define. Yeah. And then want to do int I equals 0, semicolon. Inside the there. Then I is less than 5. Semicolon. And then I plus plus. And then outside the parentheses, you want to add curly braces. And then do, wait. How do we do this? Wait. Wait, just a second. Am I being small brain? Maybe. Just not. Wait, how would we do this?
Create a dummy variable that's of A, and then each time you do it, you replace it with the following.
Oh, okay, that's smart. So define the dummy outside, right? Wait, do we define it outside? Yeah. Do it before the for loop. So after line 38, enter again.
Here?
Yeah. Wait, I do dummy variable. Yeah, you want to have it type. You don't type actually dummy variable. It's just like a term used for it. So do just A, capital A, and then space, like do D for dummy, and semicolon. Wait. Do A star D,
A star D.
and then semicolon. And then inside the for loop, you want to have
Set D equals to A1.
no, you don't want to set it to A1 because that'll reset it each time. So have A star D equals A1 outside and line 39.
A star D equals
A1. Yeah. A1. And then inside you would do D or C out. D arrow payload. Semicolon, or do like an end line. You have to have a double arrow before the line. The other way. Yeah. And then next line, you do D equals D arrow object. Yeah, semicolon. Now we can run, maybe, hopefully. This fails, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it failed. That's not great. Wait,
Is it okay to have like spaces in the name of new A? Shouldn't it be new
A1
underscore A? I don't think that's what the problem is, but I feel like that's
from A star to int. Wait, what?
Use the new keyword, you're creating a pointer, not an A variable. So
sorry.
for example, A1 is a pointer to an A variable, not an A or to an A object. So you should do A star A1, A star A2.
Oh, that's smart, right? That's what I was missing. Cool. Thank you. Beautiful.
Nice.
Right, so we are done.
Prof, we got it.
Mr. Venkataraman, we finished.
Yeah, are you done?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, okay, all right. So so oh wow, so when you're silent, does that mean you're waiting for me? No, you should call me. Okay, so don't waste time. All right, let's see. All right, instar A1. All right, new A. Oh, you're creating new objects. I thought you were going to put them on stack. Okay, that's fine. Okay. And then add object. Oh, and add object returns a pointer to the object. It's object A1. Is that what happens?
We made it so it points it to the next object that it added. So you can just string
I
it
see,
on.
I see. Okay. So if you add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they'll be in the right order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see. Okay. Because otherwise they'll be like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, but if you always add to the beginning. Yes or no? Tell me, right? So everybody needs to be on the same page. So the way that, by the way, who is Caesar? Caesar and a whole bunch of you were coding. Yes, it wasn't just Caesar's voice. I heard a lot of voices. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So by the way, because you're using new, this is something to keep in mind. You don't have to do it now. Because you're using new, you also have to do delete, meaning that you got stuff from the main store. That means you got to give it back to the main store. If it's on the stack, it'll automatically be cleaned up for you. Right? But if it's on the heap, then if you take it, then you got to give it back. So we'll use delete. Now, what we'll do is for practice, we'll just refactor main a little bit so that we're actually not using pointers on the heap anymore, but we'll just be using objects on the stack. No, it's exactly the same code. You have to understand how this works, okay? So, and I hope that everybody understands how this works, okay? I'll put a blank line, by the way, after line 37, line 37. Yeah. In fact, these are shortcuts. You don't need the separate lines, A star, and so on. You can put all of them on the same line too. And you can also use equals new A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You can do that too. Those are all things you can experiment with and find out. They all work. Just different ways of styling your code so that, you know, it's not always condensing it to the minimum everywhere. Some places it needs to be condensed, some places it needs to be blown up a bit so that it kind of balances out. So, you know, the aesthetics of it is your personal taste. That'll just evolve over time, I think. Okay, right. So here, you've done a couple of really nice things here. So your add object returns a pointer to the object that was added. Yeah. Now, usually, I think, if I'm not, you know, I may be mistaken here. That is not the conventional behavior, because if you're going to return an object, I think you return the original object and say, I added this guy to the end, and here's the original object. I added the next guy to the end, here's the original object. So you don't, but that's okay. You know what, the way you've got it okay is okay, because for what you're doing, as long as you understand what you're doing, that's fine. Because, you know, maybe you join a company where you say, okay, this is the convention we follow, right? We always return a pointer to the start object, not to the object that got added. Yeah, you'll say, okay, I'll do it that way, because you know how to do it differently. But I think the convention is that you always return this pointer, so that, you know, you can always say this dot draw, this dot, you know, and so on and so forth. You can call all right. So, all right. So anyway, you got those, and then you're adding the objects. So that's why I like that line 39, because now you can chain these things together. So whoever came up with that idea, actually very nice. Okay, that's a nice pattern. So that allows you to chain. Yeah. And whether you return an object, you know, the first pointer or the last, that's okay. But that pattern, let's change. All right. No, further down. Further down. All right. And then your A star D equals A1. And then I see. Now, what happens when you add new A56? A5 is the last one you're adding. So what happens when you add? Yeah, now let's go up and see what the yeah, go up to where you add an object. So what happens when you add an object and it also has the next one, right? A star. Can we, is it, I know you guys came up with this code on your own. That's fantastic. Okay. But is it okay if we just do some renaming and refactoring and all, just to, you know, put it more in line with the convention so that it'll be easier for you to recognize code in the question all? Is that okay? Yeah. Can we just refactor a little bit? Okay. All right. So great. Okay. All right. So let's go to, you know, we will keep things public for now. A star object. Instead of A star object, call it A star next. Okay, A star next. And one of the things I'm doing here is that, see, next does not end with the letter P. And that is a break from convention, because many people say if it's a pointer, it should end with a P, so that when I see the variable just by that's, you know, on its own, I know it's a pointer. So it's a very good convention to follow. That's why I don't say int star n. No, n should be an integer. But int star np, that's okay, because np is a pointer to an integer. Does it make sense? You know, it's stylistic guidelines, because the compiler will pass you, no problem, it'll pass. But you won't pass yourself when you look at your own code later on and say, oh my gosh, that's why I wasted like 2 hours because of my naming, you know, and now I'm using this naming convention. So the pointer thing matters. So, so next is a break from convention. It doesn't end with a P, but most programmers know when they see next, it means a pointer. Okay, that's why we're using next. Right, so enter. Okay, so those are the two variables. Okay, no, just one enter. Sorry, one enter. All right. Now, what you can do is instead of I, because I is usually used for counter, right? Again, stylistic issue. I, J, K, N even. Right? And maybe not n so many times. IJK is usually counter. Okay. Don't use IJK as parameters to a function ever. Even if you're doing Python or some other language, professionally, right? A professional can look at you, right? And most of the professionals I know, they didn't use IJK as parameters to functions, because it is very highly undocumenting. That's what it means. Okay. Parameter name should be kind of self-documenting so that you know what the hell they're doing. So instead of I, let's call that data. Just call it data, int data. And let's do the short form for the constructor too, which is basically a payload, a colon after the colon after that. Yeah. Now let me not talk you through this. Now that you got the constructor working this way, just change the constructor so that you're going to do it with the short form, colon, and then initialize the variables and then empty braces after that. Can you guys do that?
Yeah.
I'll walk you through this. Okay, so we don't. It's okay, right? So get rid of lines 23. No, yeah, get rid of the whole body of that function for now. The constructor. Yeah, all right. Let's get rid of that. Right. So go after the close parentheses and say colon after the close parentheses. After the close parentheses. Yeah, colon. Right. Space. Now you say payload. Open parentheses. Data. Right, and then comma. After the close parentheses, you say comma, and then next. Next, open parentheses. Now this is something you didn't do, but it is a super important thing. I think you did. Did you do that? Oh, you do that, right? No, you don't. You don't. Right. So next is a pointer, isn't it? So when you assign something to it, you should also make sure that the pointer is either initialized to null, meaning it doesn't point anywhere, or it's pointing to something that you own. Now, when you take something that has a pointer and say, I'm not going to assign anything to the pointer, it can have any junk it wants, then you won't be able to tell whether it's the end of the list or not, because it'll be pointing to an address. It's just that it's not your own address. Now, is that point clear? Because this is a bug you will run into many, many times as you're working on quest number 9 and lots of things after that in CS2B and all. Accessing a pointer that does not belong to you is what causes the a pointer error and causes your code crash. You'll meet that like a million times in your coding journey, but that's what it means. So when you have a pointer, you want to make sure that's initialized to null, right? So next open parentheses, you can say null pointer. Now, is everybody okay with why we're doing these things? Yeah, because it's, and we're going to do this on Thursday too. So don't worry. Right now, you can just say both the curly braces on the same line and nothing in between them. Now put the curly brace there too. Who's still coding? Is Caesar still coding? Caesar, are you coding?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Right, so put the other curly brace on the same line as well. Put the get rid of that on the same line. There you go, and nothing between them is good. Okay, and put a space after the colon, right? After int data, and then you got that. Yeah, put it before. Yeah, right. Okay, so that's your constructor for the object A, and what it does is initializes two things. It takes the data and initializes your payload with it, and then takes null pointer and puts it into the next object. Okay, that's your constructor. Yes, is everybody okay with this so far? All right, now let's. Yeah, all right. So that's great. Now, and a blank line after that, because the next one is a new method, isn't it? And you're going to do this inline too. That's okay. So are you going to return A star? All right. So here, what we'll do is, by the way, you got to fix the indentation. Okay, fix the indentation. Fix the indentation. And no, return should be inside. Return should be indented in. Return the line 24. Line 24. Yeah, line 24. Indent in. Yeah, no, 4. Yeah, tab, one more tab. No, yeah, no. Get back one, and then get rid of that empty space. Just yeah, one. All right. Okay. Now instead of object, because it's not it's again stylistic issue, but it goes a long way in making sure your code is bug free. Okay. It's a pointer to an object, not an object. So even though the compiler doesn't care, your fellow programmer or your boss may care later on. So you should not call an object pointer as just an object, because it's not an object. It's a pointer to an object. So what you should do is instead of saying add object, let's call it add next. Okay, add next. Yeah. All right. Now, and then you're going to say A star, I don't know, next pointer. Okay, next pointer. Yeah, pointer. All right. And then on the next line, you're going to say next equals next pointer. right? In fact, you know what, next pointer, instead of saying next pointer, you can just say PTR. P, just say P. I think that's more self-documenting. Instead of next pointer, you can just say P. No, there, next equals P. Yeah. I'm totally confused Caesar here. Okay, let me start from scratch. On line 22, change the word next pointer into P. Double click on next pointer and turn it into P. Yeah. All right. On line 23, you're just going to say next equals P. Great. Okay. Now, here's the thing we're going to change. Okay. Instead of returning object, which is the thing that you inserted, you're going to return the current object itself. So you're going to return this. Okay. Return this. Instead of returning object, you're going to, and again, this is a pattern. And when you code later on, you'll be returning this because you can just say, you can do the same thing you did before, except it'll be added to the front now because, yeah. So, all right. So now you'll get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 instead of 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in your main, let's make some more changes to main. All right, clean up the blank lines too. Clean up the blank lines on line 26 and 27. All right. So in your main, let's do something. Yeah. So here's what we'll do. Okay. So let's say A, not a pointer. Okay, we're not going to put it on. Again, you can do it on the stack like you've heap like you've done now, but we're going to change it and do it on stack so that it's a different way of doing things. You got to get comfortable with both. It's exactly the same at the end of the day. Okay. All right. So on line 29, instead of int A star A1, just say A1. Okay, A1 equals, right? No, A1, and then after the A1, A1 space, and after the A1, say parentheses, because you want to call the constructor, right? Now say 1, right? And then get rid of everything after the closing parentheses, right? And then comma, A2, and within parentheses, you're going to say 2. Right, get rid of the space before that too, because then the commas and all. Yeah, right. So you want to do all of the 5 like that on the same line. Now, yeah, okay. Oh, wow. We're almost at end of time, but that's okay. After this, we'll save the URL, and this is what we're going to pick up on, Thursday. And then on Thursday, we'll do the, game, because I think we have the basics now. We want to do a special kind of toString method or a show method on Thursday, which will, do some animation using some of the tricks we've done before, using a given list. So that we'll have an animated list, and then we'll have a game that's based on the animated list. I think that is probably doable in the 2 hours. So we'll actually get to do that game, and maybe I'll do a lot of the coding with you guys. But totally comfortable with become comfortable with this by Thursday. All right, get rid of lines 30 to 33. You don't need that anymore. Now what we want to do is so A1 dot add object. You want to say address of A2, right? So you want to say address of A2 because A2 is an object, right? So and then also instead of A1 arrow, you're going to say A1 dot now. And then we're going to put a comment saying, wait, you know what? Now it's totally wacky because some places we got a dot, some places we got an arrow. Now here's what you need to do. Maybe for extra credit even. In the forums, you got to say, what is this, crazy notation we had in class? Because we had this chain, but some places we had a dot and some places we have an arrow. Why is this mess, right? What is this mess? What useful purpose does a mess serve us? What are we learning from that? Now there, and you learn that sometimes you get an object, sometimes you get a pointer to an object, and when you get a pointer, you use an arrow. When you get an object, use that. Okay, dot. So that's what we're going to do here. And you can elucidate this and you talk about this more in the forums. Maybe you get extra credit for that too, or at least you can put that in your final report. Okay, so A1 dot add object, dot add object, right? And then no space after that. Get rid of the space, right? Now instead of A2, you're going to pass the address of A2, right? Pass the address of A2. Address of meaning ampersand. No, ampersand A2, ampersand A2. ampersand A2. No, A2. Right? Now that returns a pointer to this object. Yeah. So now you can say arrow. Now you can say arrow. Right? Yeah, arrow. Yeah, get rid of the space. Yeah, all right, up to you. In fact, what you can do is take that to the next line. Yeah, hit and enter, take that to the next line. No, I mean with the arrow itself. Take the arrow, yeah, to the next line, and then you can put that to the end of that. Right, now take that next arrow to the next line, to take the next arrow to the next line. Right, and get rid of the space between, yeah, all those things, yeah. And then take the semicolon and put it on the last line, put it on the last line. That semicolon should go on the next line. Yeah, next, I'm sorry, enter, right, semicolon. That's the end of that compound statement, right, spanning many lines. And you can also indent in the, arrows so that it kind of belongs there and hangs off it. But, and you can put a comment. Yeah, indent all of them in by a couple of spaces maybe. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Thank you, Caesar, for cleaning up that up. Yeah, great. Okay, and put a comment on line 30. Go to line 30 and put an enter, right? Yeah, enter one more time. Yeah, all right. Now start a comment saying, discuss why sometimes we have a dot add object and sometimes we have an arrow, and how and the benefits of cleaning it up, right? And yeah, dot add object and then arrow add objects, and benefits and pros and cons of cleaning it up, right? And pros and cons of, yeah.
Would this not
Add object, yeah, arrow add object, not that object, add object, arrow add object, right? And then yeah, this is why no, discuss, not this is why, discuss why, yeah. Sometimes we have this and sometimes we have that. Okay, and and then after line 36, hit enter. Line 36, hit enter. Go to line 36 and hit enter. All right, now what are you doing? Go and scroll down a bit, and you're printing out the values, right? A star D. Now what you can do is, because it's a pointer, don't call it D. Okay, D is not usually a pointer, so always call it P. So A star P equals A1, right? A star P equals A1, right? Now instead of iterating through the index 0 to 5, you're going to iterate until the last element is null. Yeah. Okay, so here's how you do it. So on the next line, 38, maybe you're going to complete that and share it on the forum. Yeah, that's right, on the next line. Yeah, enter. Right, so you're going to say while P is not equal to null, No. So not like Python, okay? Parentheses, while, open parentheses. Yeah, P, and not vertical bar. No, not vertical bar, exclamation mark equals. While P is not equal to null pointer, okay, null pointer, nullptr. Right, on the next line, indent in, you're going to say cout P arrow payload, handle. No, P arrow payload. Yeah, P arrow payload. Yeah, a semicolon. Oh, endl. You want the endl too. Yeah, a semicolon. All right, on the next line. Oh, you need curly braces after the while because it's 2 lines. Yeah, curly braces after the while. They're at the end of the line. At the end of the line. Space and then a curly brace. Yeah. And after the cout, you're going to say P equals P arrow next. Okay. Now that is something that you should try, make this program work. And this is instead of the for loop, so you can get rid of the for loop. Okay. Yeah. And now you say P equals P arrow next. P equals P arrow next. Now it's very important to understand what the hell is going on here. Okay. And so you got to work it out on a notebook with a piece of paper, maybe, and with a finger. Okay. I say P next. Okay. P arrow, P equals P next. Okay. Move your finger to the next node and things like that. You got to get comfortable with that. Get rid of the for loop. Okay. So you got to understand what happens in that on line 38 to a line, well, most of this program, okay, it's only for 44 lines, okay? You need to understand everything about this program, everything. If anything is unclear, you should ask in the forums, because this is like the bread and butter of what you're going to be doing after that. Because if you're struggling with this, if you have, remote questions saying, oh, in this particular use case, I don't know what happens, but on the whole, I know what happens, it's not going to save you, okay? Because you'll have a tough time. So just make sure you spend as much time as required to get really, really solid on this. You need to know everything about this program. This is what we wrote today. It's only 44 lines. If you have any questions, ask, people who can help you. Vikram, do you have a question?
Yeah, so going back to line 24, can you explain the significance of returning this instead of object?
Yeah. So when you return the object, so here's an object and you want to add something to the end of this, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you return, both have its pros and cons, but I'm saying usually what happens is that when you do something to the object, you say, I took the parameter, did it to the object, and here's the object back. If you want to do more on the object, give me more stuff. That is easier for programmers to understand and deal with than saying that, when you add something, I'm going to give you a pointer to the new thing that you added that introduces more uncertainties into your downstream code.
So when you return the object, you're returning a pointer that leads to uncertainties?
No. What I mean is, if every time you call that method, you're going to be returning not exactly the same object, but the new object that got added to the end.
Yeah.
Right? So it introduces a new, more uncertainties, right? Because every time you don't have the exact same object, it could be a different object. What happens if you want to add, what happens if you want to do more operations on this? And also, what happens if that object that you added is a null?
Right. So then if you return this, then you can do more to it.
Yeah.
Also,
and I think and that's not the only reason. That is, one of the reasons why many programmers just make sure, hey, Chris, that's okay. All right, thanks. And we can talk later. So yeah, right. So that is one of the reasons why we say, this is a good convention to always return this so that you always have your starting point, which you know for sure is not null. Does it answer your question, Krishna? Have you got a question too?
Yeah. It's more like kind of on the code itself.
Mhm.
So my first comment's like line 33, 34, 35. Shouldn't they also have like an ampersand because pointer?
Oh, totally. Yes, thank you. Right? Yeah. Hey, Caesar, you need ampersands, and then also you can get rid of the spaces before the open parentheses and all. So yes, thank you, Krisha, for
And
pointing that
also
out.
for line 22,
Uh-huh.
wouldn't that just have it so that A1 would only have A5?
Oh,
if you
yes. Oh, and thank you so much, Krishav. Okay. Absolutely. Yes.
So
That
don't you have to
and
check?
basically, yes, what you have to do here is, maybe we'll spend a little bit of time next class to clean that up. What we're doing here is just taking that object and just resetting next. And Krishav was, thank you, kind enough to point it out. What you need to do is hold on to that. This is the trick move, and yeah, that's why it's a pity it's in a class. So you got something that's pointing to something, and a new one comes in that needs to go in here. What you need to do is hold on to the current next, okay, and make that current next point to that guy, and then take that guy and put him here. So that is the insert operation. That's what we got to do here.
You could also
and
do a pushback operation, which would just be recursive.
Yeah, you can do a pushback, but the disadvantage of that, again, thank you so much for raising these questions. Okay, you should also talk about these questions. If you do a pushback, what that means is you got the starting point of the list, and you're asking someone to put this item at the end that's linear in the size of the list, right? If you have a long list, a pushback is going to take a long time before you hop and go to the end. Yes.
Oh, right. I see what you mean.
Yeah, so that is one of the advantages of a linked list. That's the only advantage I can think of. Even with the vector, it's faster, really, just to shift things to that side. Yeah, so pushback. That is the option you can do. You can go to the end and put it there, or you can insert it, push front, and then because it's a list, you can have push front, because it's constant cost. So vector and push front then we're in deep shit. Yes, because then you got to shift
Mm.
all the elements. Because the list, you can do a push run. Now that part we didn't get to do today, and unfortunate. Okay, we'll certainly do this. Okay, fork this code, share the URL with a little bit of comment, Caesar, saying what it's all about. Okay, and you can say that, you know, there's probably bugs in here. You got to fix it, but we're going to take this and run with this next class, and implement the push front, and also various kinds of animated outputs of the list. Okay, we're just getting somewhere. And I think, you know, this is the first class on linked data structures. I think it's okay. But the important thing is to keep, you know, don't come back to this just next Thursday. Okay. Oh, we played with linked lists. Okay, now I can focus on English and math and all these other things. And on Tuesday and Thursday, come back to this. Then I think you got to keep in it at least, you know, half an hour every half a day or something like that, so that it's not too far away from your consciousness and you're always thinking about this. That way, when you come back to this, it'll be a whole lot easier. Yeah. All right. But I will work on this on again on Thursday. Hey, Liam, you got a question too?
Yeah, it was just a brief question about the semicolon in the. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Oh, in
screen
the
is.
code? Can you
So
bring it up again, Caesar?
I'm pretty. Well, we're already over the time, so it'll be a quick question. But yeah, I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that. I've used it before, but I wasn't like comfortable with that.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Caesar, can you pull it up? It'll be really quick. Caesar, can you pull up that code again? Caesar, are you here? Caesar's
I
gone.
could do it. I could do it.
All right. Oh, how did you pick up the URL? Did he already share it in the forum?
Yeah, it's in the Zoom. So do you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Yeah.
Yeah, right here. So
That
if
colon
I remember
notation.
correctly, this is basically initializing these. So it's written here, and then you're making it have this value or something. Like, isn't this just a way of skipping constructors?
That is a constructor.
Oh, but like I remember in I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it
yeah.
was
That is in fact, you can do that even in your out of line constructors. Even you can do that even in your out of line functions. I think you can initialize variables of the object like that. It's just a shortcut. You can do that in your code too. You can put the whole thing inside of your curly braces and say payload equals data next equals null pointer. That's possible too.
So all it's doing is basically like just wait. I can't edit it. I guess.
Oh, you got to fork it to edit it. You got to
Okay.
fork it.
Well, so all this does is saying that this is equal to
Equals
this.
data.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it
That's
was a
it.
bit more.
And next equals null pointer. And next equals null pointer.
I thought it was a bit more complex than that. Okay.
Hmm?
I thought it was a bit more complex than that.
Yeah. No, it's really simple. It's just, you know, it's just icing on, you know, syntactic sugar, as they call it.
Okay.
It's just things to make it easier.
All right.
All right. Thank you all so much for sticking
Also,
around.
when is Quest
Vikram.
9 due? When is
Quest 9 is due
it due at the end of this week? Or was it
it is
due?
due at the end of this week, yeah.
Okay.
Well, how about we make it end of week 11?
Oh,
End of week 11, right? End of next week.
okay.
Doesn't mean you start work, you know, next week.
I think that's better.
Yeah.
And then next week.
I found
Because it
it's
will take time and it's
yeah.
better to get a solid grip on it before you get into
most of
2B.
the other quests I could complete in just like an hour if I sat down, but this one's like really been struggling, like giving me a
Yeah.
challenge.
I'm sorry, what is the other?
I said normally like most of the quests I've been able to do in like an hour if I just sit down and work on it, but this one's like actually
Yeah.
giving me a challenge.
Yeah, so it'll take you about 4 hours in that case. Yeah, if it
Yeah.
took, you know, the other ones took you 1 hour, this will probably take you 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, according to Liam's metric. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you all. And you know, next week, I'm hoping we'll have a face-to-face class on campus. And you know, one of those will be just a reflection class, which you can also use to generate ideas for your final report. And maybe I'll just get pizza or something. In class. We'll see how it goes, okay? Unless it rains out and all, we'll try and meet in class and have some fun. All right?
I have a question really quick.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, just one moment.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
regarding-
okay.
Regarding the grading of the questing, so how will it be graded at the end of the quarter?
It's exactly what the first syllabus says, you know, the total number of points divided by so and so and the fraction and so on, right?
So, is it the total number of trophies I get divided by 90 or 190?
Oh, for 2A, yes, yes. It's a total number of trophies divided by 190. Yeah. And that's right, that's right. And then the dog points are separate. The dog points are separate. Yeah.
Wait, what are the dog points?
So if you go to your canvas, you'll see a section called you get 4 points for dogging blue or something like that. Dog is getting 190 trophies, isn't it? Or maybe it's only for 2B. Maybe in 2B, it's important.
Dog is, yeah, I think it's 190.
190, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's either 190 or 191. So strictly over 190.
Wait,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
190 first?
Yeah, there's 191 in total in CS2A.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I remember. I think, you know, someone else mentioned that too. It's 191 total.
Cool.
So if we haven't gotten the total trophies in like previous quests, can we still go back and do them?
Oh yeah, totally, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing you're not allowed to do is ask saying, hey, I got like 27 in this particular one. These are the trophies and which ones am I missing? That will basically suck the fun out of it for you. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, just keep experimenting. All right. Goodbye.
Yeah, all right, all right. I'll see you guys on
good night.
Thursday, okay?
Yeah.
Bye.